A robber hit one local bank and officials are on the hunt. We have the latest. The Vietnam Wall Memorial is visiting Athens this week, and we caught the motorcycle escort into town. And in sports, the Indians set the American League record for most consecutive wins in a row. We'll let you know how they did it. Newswatch starts right now.
There's a manhunt going on in Athens for a suspect involved in a bank robbery. Good evening, I'm Jacob Solother. Thanks for joining us. The Athens County Sheriff's Office is currently investigating a bank robbery in the Plains. According to a release from Sheriff Rodney Smith, a suspect robbed Hocking Valley Bank around noon. The suspect did get away with an undisclosed amount of money, and the FBI is assisting with this investigation. If anyone has any information on the suspect, contact the Athens County Sheriff's Office. The Vietnam Wall Memorial is visiting Athens, and we got a look at the drive-in. WOUB's Chelsea Sick was there, and she joins us live now from Bicentennial Park, where the wall is.
It's finally here, the wall that heals. It's a half-scale replica of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. The wall began the day in Logan and was transported by motorcycle escort to this spot in Bicentennial Park. It is open to the public starting this evening and will be open for 24 hours a day until Sunday. The veterans at the escort told me this wall will give them the opportunity to honor those who never made it home. It was an emotional morning for the more than 100 motorcyclists who escorted the Vietnam War Memorial replica into Athens. Memories, remembrance, respect, all the words used to describe what this wall means to them.
I've never been to D.C. to see the wall, and I've got two friends' names on it.
The Campus Involvement Center and Ohio University's Veterans and Military Students Center have been working since January to plan the arrival of the wall.
Because we know that there's many Vietnam veterans that still live in Athens County, so we wanted to do this really in honor of them.
There are 58,318 names on the wall, all fallen Vietnam servicemen and women. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund site manager Patrick O'Neill says this was the biggest turnout for an escort he has seen in a while.
Gives everybody an opportunity to pay respect in their own way. It'll be open 24/7. A lot of people show up at nighttime because they prefer to do that. I'm talking mainly about the veterans. Each veteran that shows up, it's a personal issue.
On Sunday, a similar replica wall was in Athens in 2011, but it was much smaller and located in Baker Ballroom. The wall is across the street from the convo and will be here until Sunday at noon. Reporting live in Bicentennial Park, I'm Chelsea Sick.
Thanks, Chelsea. Local high school students are asking for your help in aiding hurricane victims. It's part of Federal Hocking's project called Stuff the Bus. Donations will be accepted throughout the rest of the week. Community members are asked to donate any relief supplies including food, water, cleaning products, and pet food. District Superintendent Dr. George Wood says the students are just happy to help.
You're going to choke me up. I mean, I love it. We learn here at school to take care of each other. So this is just what you need to do. And I just could not be more proud of these kids.
Supplies can be dropped off at the bus in front of the Federal Hocking High School anytime from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Almost 2 months ago, Canadian geese have been killed by Ohio Department of Natural Resources, although they belong to protected species. A social media post now brought a new concern for local wildlife. WOUB News reporter Lauren Ramoser has more on the story.
Athens City Councilman Patrick McGee took to Facebook last week, upset over the removal of 46 Canadian geese from Dal Lake back in June.
As I say, I was shocked that the authorities would resort to this way of eliminating them, especially the brutal way of doing it.
According to a statement from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, it obtained a nuisance permit to remove the geese and euthanize the birds with what ODNR describes as a quick blow to the head. ODNR declined an on-camera interview but said in their statement that it decided to euthanize the geese with a blow to the head based on guidelines on euthanizing animals issued by the American Veterinary Medical Association. Those guidelines call for, quote, a rapid loss of consciousness followed by cardiac or respiratory arrest and ultimately a loss of brain function. ODNR says the geese at Dal Lake were creating a health concern at the beach and negatively impacting water quality. Councilman McGee says ODNR's reasons for killing the geese doesn't make much sense to him.
I've not heard that the geese actually are a problem with polluting the water as much as polluting the beaches and areas where people like to go. So the real remedy is to keep them away from that area.
McGee says authorities could have used other methods to drive the geese away from Dal Lake. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Lauren Ramosa.
This isn't the first time wildlife officials have said euthanize geese that is creating problems. A southern Indiana town has also euthanized more than 200 geese just in the past year, as did a company in Clarksville where between 200 and 250 geese have been killed. ODNR gave permission in both cases.
Good evening to all of you at home. I'm Blake Baker in the Weather Center here in Athens, Ohio. I'm going to tell you what's going on in the sky and how it's going to affect you. We are definitely feeling the results of that devastating hurricane down in Florida. And if you looked outside today, you'd see what I'm talking about. Right now in Athens, it's about 65 degrees. It's been raining for most of the day. Our graphic will say that it's sunny, but it's been anything but. It's been pretty much cloudy and rainy just about all day long. And it's really humid out there too. So as cool as it is, it feels like springtime out there, but it is a little bit sticky. Not a whole lot of wind though. Now around the region, pretty much all the same, mid-60s throughout, you're all the way up to Columbus, all the way down to Ironton, spanning anywhere between 62 and 66 degrees, and they're also experiencing some of that rainy and cloudy precipitation outside. If you look at the almanac, we're about on schedule with just what we are seeing around this time of year. Not as hot as 36 and not as cold as 1940, but we're right on pace. You see about 12 hours of sun, and that's one of the, we're winding down that on the equinox and everything, so we're getting that sun in, and hopefully we get some more as the week goes on. Jacob?
Thanks, Blake. Yeah, let's enjoy this warm weather while we can. A Cincinnati man and his girlfriend are behind bars after being arraigned in court this morning for abusing the man's 4-year-old twin sons. First responders at the scene say the tragic case will be hard to move on from. Emily Wood reports.
Each at $50,000 plus EMU plus no contact with.
Charged with multiple counts of kidnapping and child endangerment, 26-year-old James Howell, the boy's father, and his girlfriend, 30-year-old Jamie Carver, were arraigned in court this morning. Police say last night officers found evidence Howell's twin 4-year-old boys were still in diapers, bound by shoelaces, with socks stuck in their mouths and duct taped to the wall.
Shoelaces, the belt that was used to discipline the children, and the sock that was used to put into their mouth to keep them quiet.
District 5 Sergeant Jeff Dunaway was one of the officers who responded to this apartment building in College Hill along Hamilton Avenue. He says the details of the case are so disturbing it will stick with him the rest of his career.
Everyone who responded has children. In this case, when you have a tragic case that involves children, it's not easy to move on.
Dunaway says he and his fellow officers want to collect toys and clothes for the boys, who are now with a foster family, and hopefully bring a smile back to their faces.
I'm not sure what the answer is. I just know that we have the satisfaction of knowing these kids are in a much better and a much safer environment tonight than they were last night.
During the arraignment, it was revealed that the girlfriend's record includes domestic violence convictions, but details on those incidences were not released. Coming up after the break, the latest on Trump's bipartisan agreement and what this could mean for your taxes. And disaster struck at one Florida nursing home, leaving many dead and injured. We'll fill you in on the condition down there. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
8 people have died in a Florida nursing home in Irma's aftermath today. Take a look at these aerial and ground shots of the rehabilitation center at Hollywood Hills. The center was having problems with its air conditioning system. Following the hurricane, a criminal investigation has been launched to see if a generator was being misused. Police say the deaths were heat-related. Hollywood Mayor Josh Levy says he's disappointed in emergency services time of response.
I want to express my condolences to the families of those deceased today from what occurred here at this rehabilitation center at Hollywood Hills. Our hearts go out to those loved ones of those who are deceased.
The rest of the patients have been evacuated. There are about a dozen people being treated. Congressional leaders say the week of September 25th is the next big date on the calendar when it comes to taxes. That's when House and Senate tax legislation writers say they will have a proposal for a revised federal tax code. Emily Schmidt has more on talk of the bipartisan agreement in Washington.
This week's White House calendar hints at politics as a two-way street right down Pennsylvania Avenue. Democratic lawmakers joining Republicans going from Capitol Hill to the White House. Wednesday afternoon, the so-called Problem Solvers Caucus at the table.
More than ever, we now need great tax reform and great tax cuts.
Wednesday night, Capitol Hill's top Democrats dine with President Trump. This comes one day after the president and 3 Republican senators talked tax reform with 3 Democrat senators from red states.
We're on Team America. That takes Democrats and Republicans working together.
Tax code overhauling is a top Republican priority touted by then candidate Trump.
I'm lowering your taxes way down.
And in the administration's first days.
We're going to be announcing something, I would say, over the next 2 or 3 weeks that will be phenomenal in terms of tax.
Recently, bipartisanship made its way into the tax reform message.
I'm committed to working with both parties to deliver for our wonderful, wonderful citizens.
Republicans say the budget is key. Tax structure could be changed with only 51 votes in the Senate if it's linked to budget legislation, versus the 60 votes it would need as a standalone bill.
Well, I would love to have the Democrats supporting and working with us in a constructive way on tax reform, but we're going to do it no matter what.
Tax reform still a promise, with no change yet to Americans' pocketbooks. In Washington, I'm Emily Schmidt.
President Donald Trump has struggled to get his legislative agenda going in his first year. Republicans are continuing the search for new ways to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Today, Senators Lindsey Graham and Bill Cassidy revealed their latest proposal to overhaul health care. Senator Graham says the Graham-Cassidy bill levels out an inequality in funding. He also says it's the GOP's last approach to replacing Obamacare.
It allows flexibility that Obamacare would never embrace. It gives patients a voice in the health care they'll never have through a single-payer health care system. And from my point of view, it's the best and last hope for the Republican Party
3 Republican senators to object, and the bill can't pass under reconciliation. With fall in full swing, the holiday season is steadily approaching, and Target is stocking up on workers. Those stories still ahead.
And next on Newswatch, stick with us to see how Hurricane Irma will continue affecting the area for the remainder of the week and into the weekend, but you may be pretty happy with the Parents' Weekend forecast. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Blake Baker in the Weather Center. And here's what we're going to look at in the weather today. I mentioned it's 65 degrees outside right now, a little bit cloudy and humid. We talked about that. It's the kind of spring weather that we're seeing in September, but it's pretty normal for this time of year. Now we look at around the region once again. We're looking at temperatures that are pretty much about all the same. Athens 65, Marietta and Jackson both 64. Our lowest will be up in the Columbus and Newark area, and Cambridge 63, New Martinsville 64. All the way down to Ironton is 66. That's about our warm area. You get a little bit warmer as it gets down and cooler as you go north. But around the region, not a whole lot of disparity. We're looking at mid 60s. The highs and lows are about the same all across the region, so that'll be about the same. And overnight, once again, pretty similar. Athens will be 58. We're going to see some of that rain and cloud overnight too. Be a pretty crummy night out there in terms of Ohio weather. But that's going to be the same for across the region. Cambridge 57, up in Columbus 59, Newark 59 as well, Ironton 59 also. So you see the places where it was a little bit cooler during the day, it's going to be the same overnight. Hour by hour overnight. Here in Athens, it's going to be 62 degrees here at 8 p.m. We got a 20% chance of rain. You're going to see a chance of rain all through the night. Some of it looking worse than others, 30%, and 59 degrees here at midnight and at 4 a.m. We're also looking at a 50% chance of rain, but it'll be about 59 as well. So again, cool night, overnight. It'll be dark and crummy and rainy. Almanac, we already talked about this too. We're about average for our time of year. 75 was the high today. We're looking at about 4 degrees difference from what we normally see, and we're right on pace with the low for today. Nowhere close to the high or low record. And again, I mentioned the sunlight, which will continue to go down. So our headlines: scattered rain throughout Thursday. We're looking at the same thing that we talked about today. All those repercussions from Irma we're going to be looking at tomorrow. The weekend is looking dry though. It'll be a lot less rainy, a lot more sunny, a lot less cloudy. So if your parents are coming down for Parents Weekend, or if you're a parent visiting your student here at OU, you're going to have some nice weather to look forward to. And it'll be warming up. So we're getting into the 80s as the weekend goes on, which I'll talk about here a little bit later. Overnight, we already talked about this here. And that's all we got. So if we look at the forecast throughout the week, we're not going to see that right now, but it is going to be into the 80s for Parents Weekend. It'll be nice and sunny and a little bit higher temperature as we get into the next week. But we may start to see it cool down just a little bit as fall time is approaching. Jacob?
Thanks, Blake. Need a job? Target is in quite the hiring mood as it prepares for the holiday season. The retail giant says it plans to hire more than 100,000 temporary workers for the holidays. They will do a variety of tasks, such as stock shelves, help customers, and complete online orders. Those interested can apply online or attend recruiting events at any store location, October 13th through the 15th. Current Target workers may also see their hours increase during the holiday season.
Hi, my name is Thomas Garvick, and now for sports. Coming up, find out if the Cleveland Indians won their 21st consecutive game that would punch their ticket into the baseball record books forever. Also, the 2024 and 2028 Summer Olympics have been determined. Find out where athletes will be taking their talents to, and more, next on Newswatch. Stay tuned to WOUB, and here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back, I'm Thomas Garvick. The 2017 Cleveland Indians will go down as having one of the most remarkable runs in Major League Baseball history. The Indians played AL Central rival Detroit Tigers with a chance to win an American League record 21st consecutive win today. Ever since the Tribe traded Jay Bruce at the trade deadline, he has taken this team to a new level. He hit his 34th home run of the year, a 3-run shot off of Buck Farmer to put the Indians ahead 3-1 in the first inning. That 2-run cushion was more than enough for Mike Clevenger, who picked up his 10th win of the season for the Tribe, winning this one 5-3. The win for the Indians puts the team in elite company. The streak matches the 1935 Chicago Cubs for the second longest streak in MLB history. On August 25th, the Indians were 19 games back of the LA Dodgers. But now, today, they're only 4 games back with 16 games to go. Moving on. The International Olympic Committee did something today that has never been done before. The committee announced the next 1 but 2 sites for the 2024 and 2028 Summer Olympics. Paris was awarded the 2024 Olympics, while the Summer Olympics will take place in LA in 2028. It's the first time that the committee has selected the destination for two separate Olympics at the same time. With Paris and LA, the only two bidders remaining for the 2024 Olympics, both parties come out winners here. It will be the third time each city has hosted the Olympics. The first AP poll for Ohio high school football was released, and 4 teams in Gridiron Glory's coverage made the list. The Jackson Ironmen come in ranked the highest of all 4 teams at the Division III level. At 13th, John Glenn, Nelsonville York, and Southern are all outside the top 10 in Divisions 5, 6, and 7, respectively. All 4 teams will be back in action this Friday night with a chance to improve their rankings if they continue to dominate on the field like they have been early on this season. Back in Cleveland, there's this guy that some Browns fans might remember, and his name is Josh Gordon. Gordon's trainer Tim Montgomery said today that the former All-Pro receiver will end his treatment next week with the hopes of a return to the NFL. Gordon, who was denied for reinstatement by the NFL this past May, was told by the NFL that he could apply again this fall. Gordon has not appeared in an NFL game since 2014 and would be a huge boost to rookie quarterback Deshaun Geyser and the rest of the offense. In other news, ESPN host Jemele Hill received backlash from President Donald Trump in the White House for her tweets regarding Trump. Hill tweeted that Trump encouraged white supremacism and that he is unfit to be president. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was outraged about Hill's comments in a briefing on Wednesday.
I think that's one of the more outrageous comments that anyone could make, and certainly something that I think is a fireable offense by ESPN.
Yesterday, ESPN released a statement saying Hill's comments do not represent the position of ESPN and have since addressed Hill about her tweets. Hill's colleagues at ESPN have come out and publicly said that they support Hill. I'm Thomas Garvick, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Jacob.
Thanks, Thomas. You may have wondered why Judy Woodruff didn't appear on PBS NewsHour last night. That's because she was at Ohio University speaking to journalism students. Woodruff was also presented with the Carl Van Anda Award yesterday for her excellence in the field of journalism. Woodruff spent the day talking to classes, visiting with students, and last night she gave her keynote address to a packed auditorium. She spoke about the importance of good journalism in today's political climate.
It's more important than ever before
Bond.
that reporters do our jobs, do our work, do our homework, get our facts right, get the information out there, and just keep reporting and not be deterred or in any way set back by those criticisms.
Being here this evening, and those of you who are joining on Facebook.
The Carl Van Anda Award is presented each year by the E.W. Scripps School of Journalism. And if you stay tuned to WOUB, you'll see Woodruff in a few minutes.
To wrap this one up, we're going to another look at the regional temperatures. 65 in Athens here, mid-60s. Springtime temperatures in September, low to mid-60s across the region. And it'll get cooler overnight. Overnight in Athens is about 58. We're going to continue seeing those crummy, cloudy skies. And then into tomorrow, it's looking about the same, a little bit warmer, a little bit more sun if you look up into the north and south, a little bit north and south of here. 70 in Athens, we'll see. It gets a little bit warmer as we go south, a little bit cooler as we go north. Same type of stuff we saw today. That'll do it for your weather. Here you are, Jacob.
Thanks, Blake. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything